1923. And with the transfer of leadership through 4 generations of the Aikens family, Memorial Florists and Greenhouses has provided personal service and a keen attention to detail with every order. Flowers send feelings. Each customer has a specific and unique need. It may be Valentine's Day, or, by the way, our next meeting is on Valentine's Day, or Mother's Day, but no 2 Valentines and no 2 mothers are alike. For over 25 years, Memorial Florists and Greenhouses has been honored to be in the top 250 florists among 28,000 nationally. In 2020, they were ranked in the top 50 out of 28,000. Bob Aykens is a 4th generation florist and co-owner and president of Memorial Florists and Greenhouses. He has worked in the industry since 1995. It just seems like 1895. Since 1995, and purchased Memorial Florists with his sister Mary in 2008. In 2012, Bob was inducted into the American Academy of Floriculture for his 10+ years of service to the Society of American Florists and the floriculture industry. Bob has been active as well in many local organizations, including the Boys and Girls Club, the National Youth Sports, Fox Valley Technical College Advisory Committee. Bob resides in Menasha with his wife and 2 children. Please join me in welcoming Bob Aykens to the stage.
Thank you. Thank you very much. I'm going to pull this up here quick, so just bear with me.
There it is. All right, well, thank you for that introduction. I appreciate that. Thank you, everybody, for coming. This is a great turnout. I was kind of concerned with the way the weather's been, and we're kind of fitting between 2 storms here, so this is fantastic. Memorial Florists, like Tom said, has been in my family since 1923, and certainly 4th generation of it. When you look at businesses and family businesses, generally 3rd generation is kind of where it ends, it seems like. So we're very fortunate to continue that our legacy and history as we go. Can you hear me without the microphone? Yeah. Okay. My goal here today is talk about the history of Memorial Florists, who we are, what we do, what we've done over the year, the last 100 years, and then answer some questions. Hopefully hear some stories maybe. Some of you maybe know some of my family from over the years, and you can share some stories. And I do in the back have some things set up, a small display of pictures and things from over the years, so we can, if anybody wants to take a look at those too after, we can. So. Up on the screen right now, I have our 100-year logo. So we developed a 100-year logo for our 100-year anniversary last year. And then surrounding it is all of our divisions. So growing up, one of our big successes was my dad always taught us that we had to diversify. We had to be diversified. It couldn't just be flowers. It had to be other things, right? Obviously, the floral industry is peak and valley. We talked about Mother's Day and Valentine's. There's 4 major holidays for us, and there's 12 months. So we had to find other ways to make money throughout those months, and this kind of encompasses that. So I'm going to go through all of those through this process and talk about a little bit of each and a little history. So. There we go. All right, so 1923, I'm just going to go through our timeline right now and kind of talk about that. There's some pictures on the side here, and I'll refer to those as we go. So 1923, Richard Aikens started Sunnyside Floral, which was on Wisconsin Avenue. And I don't have the exact address, but I know it was on Wisconsin Avenue. That's as much as I know. On the top here is a delivery van with one of the delivery drivers from then, Sunnyside Floral. And I'm going to guess we were probably towards Riverside Cemetery, St. Joe Cemetery on Wisconsin. That seems like that would make sense. Our industry generally, you know, early on was surrounded or would pop up around cemeteries. That was in 1923. In 1930, Sunnyside was moved up to Memorial Drive, or its current location, and it was called Memorial Drive Florist. It was moved at that time because the Memorial Drive Bridge, or the bridges, were built so you didn't have to go through the flats. So that's why we moved there, and that was basically farm field. I have pictures. In fact, some of the pictures that, I don't know if I have one of them up there or not. Our parking lot was part of the ravine that runs down through back the Red Oak area. So that whole parking lot, when you come in, was filled in over the years to be what it is now. So what you'll see there is the original store. Actually, the house back there was the original store, and then Harold added on the front, this portion here. And Harold took over ownership in 1936. And so there's a picture here of Harold's and doing some work with FTD. We were part of FTD from 1933 to about 2010, I want to say. And just over the years, as our industry changed and evolved, there wasn't a need for us to be part of Two Wire Services, so we still are part of Teleflora, and that allows us to send flowers worldwide, hence the sending beautiful flowers worldwide, if you see that on the side of our trucks or in some of our marketing. In 1969, Thomas Aikens, my dad, took over ownership after Harold passed away, and in 1975 he erected the building that's not this, but the building that burned down in 2002. So with the idea that he was going to start to open up more locations and diversify the company. And in 1975, actually same year, they bought Kramer Greenhouse in Neenah, which was on Main Street, and that was our second location, formed our second location. So in much of the time frame between, let's see, the 30s and late 90s, growing was a huge part of Memorial Florists and Greenhouses, and it's changed over the time over that stretch of years, or evolved. So back in the 30s and 40s, we had to be self-sufficient, so we grew carnations and daisies and lilies, and the greenhouses had, if they didn't have benches, it was growing in the ground. If they did have benches, it was like a raised garden, like what we see now today, a lot of our houses instead of gardens in the ground. And I remember as a kid there being blackout tarps that would go over, so they, could get them to go into bud and things like that. So as we evolved over the years, we went from growing carnations and lilies for cut for the floral end to potted plants, and that evolved to modern day of what we do today. So we'll talk a little bit more about greenhouse operations in a second. As far as cut flowers go, when we started purchasing cut flowers, it's really a global, it's done globally. So most of our cut flowers come out of South America and are brought in. The way it works in our industry is normally a florist will buy from a local wholesaler or out of Miami at a wholesale house, and the flowers have been in that wholesale house for, say, a week to 2 weeks before they make it to the florist. H&A Wholesale, which was opened in 1976 by my dad, or started by my dad, was used as a buying power for cut flowers and hard goods. So hard goods were purchased out of China and brought in, and then cut flowers out of South America, Mexico, California. So we eliminated the wholesale house. We became our own wholesale house. So instead of 1 to 2 week old flowers, we were getting flowers that were 4 to 6 days old from cut and shipped directly to us. And that hasn't changed to this day. So we still are proud to have some of the freshest flowers that are coming grower direct, and skipping some of the cold chain. So as far as purchasing from China, my dad and my uncle, who ran H&A Wholesale, which that was located in Neenah, off of Winchester Road in Industrial Park, from 75 to early 90s, I believe. Was basically mostly hard good, or it was all hard goods as far as product we'd bring in to sell to other florists or other businesses. In the late 90s, the opportunity was we need to either sell cut flowers to other florists or consolidate that into to our location here at Memorial Drive. So we determined that was what we were going to do. On that property was, if you look at, and unfortunately this picture cuts it off, but there's a warehouse over here, what looks like a warehouse. That was the town of Menasha Fire Department, volunteer fire department. My great uncle, my grandpa were the chief and assistant chief. My dad was a firefighter, and they'd get a call and they'd hop in a truck and they'd go. And at that time, the town decided that they were going to move on to Valley Road, so it made sense to move the wholesale division into there. Let me just make sure I'm staying on my timeline here. So, and then 1977, we established Interior Planscape of Wisconsin. And again, I talked about the importance of diversifying, and this was one thing that was a huge diversification and a platform that made those other months out of the year important to the company. So basically, we travel the state of Wisconsin, and we take care of plants inside of businesses, office buildings, hospitals, schools, and much more. And so we'll go over that a little bit in a little bit too. 1980s, MFG grew to 7 locations, including Valley Fair Mall, Fox River Mall, North of the Mall, City Center, and Appleton. And then we had Main Street, our headquarters on Memorial Drive, and then we also had a vending machine in the Avenue Mall. So there's actually a picture that's back there after of all the locations during that time frame. So definitely an interesting time frame. And then over the years we kind of consolidated to where we are today. So in 2001, MFG closed our Neenah location on Main Street with where the greenhouses were, and we started to look towards the future. In the late 90s, we bought the trailer court that was behind us on Memorial Drive, and put plans in place to build or relocate those growing greenhouses on this location. Oddly enough, that whole property that is currently owned by Memorial Florist, in the 30s and 40s, when Richard bought the property, he owned all that property that was there, along with where Aikens Street is and Red Oak Lane, and then had to sell some of it off during the Depression. So we had records of purchase records from back then to now, and I always said to my dad, I'm like, great grandpa's rolling in his grave when he's seeing what he sold it for and what we just bought that for. But so that kind of came full circle for us, and we started growing there and closed down that Neenah location. That location on Main Street was over 100 years old at the time. Greenhouses were not fixable, and it just was the right move. So we had a kind of a absence from Neenah for, I would say, 5 years, and then ended up opening next to Kessler Funeral Home. I think we were there for 6 years, and then ended up having an opening downtown Neenah, and we moved to downtown Neenah, and we were there for probably another 5-6 years, and then we started consolidating some more as just times changed. In 2002, we suffered a fire at our headquarters, which was a $2.7 million loss. It would happen about middle of night, midnight I think is when we got the call, and it was an electrical fire, and so our insurance covered $2.2 million, and of that, so obviously the balance was $500,000 was on us. So that was probably one of the biggest lessons of my life. I graduated with a business and marketing degree, and I always tell people I got a degree in insurance and catastrophic management, because that was quite the ordeal that we went through. So we were very lucky to be a part of Appleton as a community and surrounding communities, because they rallied around us. Our employees, our staff, who have always been amazing, rallied around us, and other partners like Meyer Construction, who's always been a great customer in front of ours, and we were open 9 months after. So At that time, Valley Fair Mall was still across the road, and I think we were out of there maybe for 10 years, but we were able to open up in our old location. Our computer wires were still on the ceiling. I remember going over there and moving a ceiling tile, and there were our wires. So we dropped them down, hooked up, and opened up shop basically same week. And fortunately, our corporate office which is the old homestead, was attached to the building. There was 2 firewalls between that, so we were able to have our servers there and able to open back up and operate without losing a step per se. So our groundbreaking was in August of 2002. Ribbon cutting was in March of 2003.
That was at your Memorial Street location?
This was Memorial Drive, yeah.
I don't remember that.
Yeah. I'd like to not remember it, but also in hindsight, so a lot of the stuff that's back here, we have between our phone sales department and our corporate office, we have a hallway, and both lines of it is all of our memorabilia and for lack of a better term, memorabilia of what happened, and it's a good reminder of the adversity you face. So maybe if there's a day where you feel like this is a rough day, you just kind of take a walk down that hall and see where we've been and what we've come through, and a kind of good reminder of, we can pretty much handle anything at this point. So, yes, Carol.
Just wanted to mention, I was working there that year during the fire, and I drove up Monday, so it was Sunday.
Sunday, yep.
And the fire department was still there and whatnot, but the garden center had not been damaged, and that's where I worked. And we had 5 or 6 employees, and we worked all day in the garden
Yep.
center.
Yeah, like I said, our employees have always been amazing. We've built an incredible staff over the years, and my dad's always told us to focus on building a good team around you, and that came full circle that day. Even in the middle of the night, we had employees showing up, and we had sales going out while smoke was still coming out of the building, out of the garden center, and people were writing. And I remember one customer handed a check over to us for $100 and said, "It's not for any product. We just want to see you back open. Here's, do what you need to do." So it was an incredibly amazing time for a lot of reasons, and certainly humbling too. So let's see. So in 2000, so that was 2002. 2007, we opened up the location on Commercial Street, and we talked about that a little bit. In 2008, myself and my sister Mary purchased the company from my parents, and continue to operate as we do. In 2015 is when we consolidated Neenah location from Commercial Street to downtown Neenah, and then in 2017 we consolidated to one location. So our Memorial Square location, which was there for, I want to say 28 years, we decided to consolidate that also in our Neenah location. Not all at the same time. There was probably a 12, 18 month separation between that. And that was obviously right before COVID hit, and just the timing, looking back at it, was kind of impeccable. So, and right now we operate out of one location with all of our divisions, and I'll talk about the other divisions in a little bit. Our growing operation in 2017 also, we decided that we grew about 60% of our annuals and potted plants, and then the rest we bought in. And we decided at that time, our head grower, who was with us for 42 years, was retiring, that we were gonna just purchase all of our product from the growers that we were using. So we had a bunch of greenhouse space we were uncertain what we were going to do with, and we had an opportunity to partner with a biotech company out of Colorado. And at the time, CBD was a big push for CBD. So they came in and leased it and did their thing for growing clean stock hemp, and would ship it back to Colorado and process it into CBD oil and ship it all over the world. So that happened. That stayed there. They were there for 3 years, and then when COVID hit, They lost like $11 million in funding that all went to the COVID vaccine. So they essentially consolidated their operation back to Colorado, and they were located, headquarters was in Colorado, but they were in Mexico, Spain, Canada, California, Massachusetts, Wisconsin, and I want to say Texas. So they were a big organization, and again, they ended up consolidating. So, and then in 2020, one of the things that we're really proud of, or I'm really proud of, is we ranked in the top 50 florists in the nation. Again, during a time frame when COVID was shutting down a lot of things, and we talk about our staff and our team members and the resiliency of just wanting to keep things going. They did a fantastic job working and making sure that our operation was still running, and so that put us in the top 50 florists nationally, which was pretty cool. And then obviously 2023 we celebrated 100 years, huge milestone. The coolest part about that is my dad is around to see it. So we were happy to be able to celebrate with him, and the dedication and heart and soul he poured into this company was pretty amazing. So that was a cool feeling. So I'll talk about some of our operations. So this is our garden center operation. So actually Carol brought up the garden center. So you can see this is the new building after the fire. This was still operating as all this was smoldering, the old part. So that was pretty cool that we were able to operate like that. But so our garden center is open from mid-April to late fall, and we carry annuals, perennials, rose bushes, some nursery stock, soil, fertilizer, some pest control, and then also fall hardy mounds, and then it consolidates back down. So one of the things that's changed with that now, again, over time was those back greenhouses are now our garden center. So over the years growing up, we'd open in April. Well, we get frost in April, so anything that was out here would have to get covered and brought in, and so on and so forth. So now by shrinking that down outside and using our inside greenhouses as our garden center, we're able to not have to worry about some of that labor-intensive things, and just gives us an opportunity to have a better product than we've already had. So. H&A Wholesale, so founded in 1976, talked about this a little bit already, as silk and hard goods and cut flowers, and that's evolved over the years. Now we basically use it as a buying power for ourselves. We don't wholesale to other florists anymore. One thing that has changed in diversification is we serve, when you go into a quick trip, pretty much anywhere within 90 miles of here and see flowers, that's from our wholesale company. So weekly we've got flowers for over 75 convenience centers coming in, and from South America, and we separate them out for each location, and then they're delivered weekly. So that's become a pretty large part of our industry, and a large change over the years, or something that's evolved and continues to evolve. Interior Plantscape of Wisconsin, we talked about it being founded in 1977. We service the entire state with maintenance and lease of live and silk plants. We've got about 100 accounts that we've got 3 people service weekly, and it also includes holiday decor, outdoor lighting, living walls. This year we partnered with Fork Farms. You've seen those plastic tubes. It looks like a big plastic tube that's about this big around, and it's growing lettuce and things inside. We partnered with them, and we're their exclusive caretaker for anybody that doesn't want to take care of their own fork farm. So if you go out to the airport, you'll see a fork farm in there. We maintain that. Some pictures of different things that we've done, holiday decorating, some atriums, living walls have become a big thing. This was just installed in the last 2 weeks. So like if you go to Community First, their headquarters, this is their living wall. Myron Construction just put that in. There's one at the airport that, if you've been through the Appleton Airport, that we maintain. So just a fun way for us to throw some design and plants. But each one of these is a little 4-inch plant. So there's 1,100 plants in that one. I think there's about 1,500 in this wall. And that stretches 15 feet tall. So it's kind of kind of a fun thing. Everything's automated in those, so every 10 to 14 days, the water turns on and runs down, and sounds like a waterfall running in the background, dripping down as it goes. And and then like Community First has a blooming rotation, so we swap that out seasonally depending on the holiday. In 1995, we started memorialflorist.com. We are one of the very few, probably less than 10 florists nationally that had an e-commerce website. So we were accepting credit cards over the internet. And I remember when we did this, my dad thought we were nuts, that no one would ever put a credit card online and couldn't understand it. And now here we are. That's pretty much the only way we shop, right? Unfortunately. So over the years, this has evolved a lot. So on the left side here is our Memorial Florist website, which actually will be changing March 1st. That'll be a complete redo. In the middle is our wedding and events page, and that'll be a complete redo to all three will be actually. And then our interior planscape site. This isn't a full e-commerce site. You can go on and order, send anywhere in the world on there. Wedding sites basically for consultation purposes, and then so is our interior planscape site. However, interior planscape site is used as a catalog when we go in to meet with a client. There's a lot of different sales tools for our sales team on there when we're meeting with clients. So very much great tools for us and for our staff, and certainly has evolved over the years. So. A little bit about our operations. So we're open 6 days a week, Monday through Friday. We're open 8 to 6, Saturdays, and 9 to 5. As far as our staffing goes, at one time we were up to 110 employees when we had 7 locations in the 90s. Right now we have 12 full-time and 33 part-time. We do offer life insurance, health insurance, disability, dental, and vacation and holiday pay. So, and we're pretty proud of those, because those life insurance specifically is a pretty tough one right now, as far as the bottom line expense. So, I'm sorry, not life, health. So we're pretty proud to be able to do that for the size of company we are. Vine Solutions, again, another way we diversified in the 90s, late 90s, early 2000s. This would have been early 2000s. Vine Solutions was a technology company we developed. I saw that we had a need for scheduling of our staff. So in conjunction with our IT person, we developed a scheduling software along with some other technology that we built around it. In 2005, we established Vine, and we have been providing technology-based solutions for our horticulture industry since then. So this is something that basically we schedule all our staff on, pay them through it. It's kind of like HR and a horticulture bundle for ourselves. So. And then as of actually today, we launched Bloom. Our kickoff for that is this weekend at the wedding show in Green Bay. Obviously, Memorial Drive Florist made sense years ago. And when we moved when we started expanding into more than one location, the Memorial Drive the drive had to drop off because it didn't make sense anymore. So we moved just to Memorial Florists Greenhouses. That's where the MFG came in. We had a marketing firm help us with that MFG over the years. And what we found and what we've gotten for feedback is Memorial Florist didn't sound very wedding event. It sounded more sympathy related. So hence Bloom Weddings and Events. And we do a lot of weddings and we do a lot of events a year, but as part of trying to grow that business and make sure we stay relevant, that's where this comes in. So marketing has always been a big part of our business. My dad instilled that. That's basically why I went to school for business marketing. He's like, you need to go to school for business marketing because it's a big part of what we do. So, over horticulture. So, this is one more thing that how we diversify and evolve, and kind of excited to see what comes of this. Even though it's not something that we haven't been doing, but it's just a way for us to help our staff grow. So. Through our time as far as departments at MFG, I kind of took a screenshot of what the inside looks like, and I'm hopeful everybody's visited us and been through the location store. But if not, this kind of gives you an idea. Everybody that works for us is cross-trained at least 2 departments. We pride ourselves with our staff that if they have a need to leave, whether it's a child sick or they're sick or appointment pops up, it's a yes. I don't like denying vacation requests. I don't like denying personal time off. Our goal is to always hit yes on that, and very few times that I have had to hit or decline a request off. So that's why it's important that we cross-train. So you'll see our retail department with coolers, our phone sales area. So the phone sales area is in the basement. Kind of a fun fact about this area right here is if you look at the front of the building, there's the building kind of jots out. Well, that very front is the original part of the florist that was there in the 60s and 70s. So they just kind of built the foundation around that. And then after the fire, as a joke always goes for a fire department, they saved the basement. Well, that's true. They saved the basement. So we built on top of the basement that's there. So hopefully there's no firefighters in here because that's not a funny joke. But and we're very grateful for Appleton Fire Department because they were amazing to work with through that whole process. But greenhouse. So we have 70,000 square feet of greenhouse space, and the new area that was built in 2002 is all retail and really state of the art. So when you come in, you'll notice that it's kind of a treat to walk through. This time of year, especially with the snow and stuff coming and cold weather, a lot of times we just get people coming in. They're not really shopping. They got a cup of coffee and they're trying to feel like they're in Florida. So you're welcome to come in and do the same. Our consultation area for any whether it's weddings, events, sympathy, we try to have a comfortable spot for our guests to come in and order flowers. And then our design departments, greenhouse and cut flower. And then some pictures of the cooler and greenhouse, our delivery area. So again, very much departmentalized. And then this is a picture that, believe it or not, this is Christmas. No snow, but this is Christmas. This is the 3rd, 4th, and 5th generations of the company. So you'll see my sister, Mary, who owns the company with me, and her husband. Obviously myself. This is Tom and Nancy. And then Mary's daughter, Carly, is next to me, and my son, Owen, Mary and Jamie's son, Brady, my daughter, Michaela, and my wife, Tara. So as far as involvement in the business goes, Mary and I obviously own it. My parents are happily retired. And Mary's husband runs our delivery departments. My wife is a school secretary and used to work for us years ago, and now is working in a school district with kids. My daughter Michaela is a freshman in high school and works in our retail department and in the evenings. Mary's son Brady is a senior at University of Minnesota, plays baseball for the Gophers and has aspirations to play at the next level, so hopefully that happens for him. My son Owen is a junior in high school and is planning on going to school for business and finance, and he does have an interest in the business, so that's kind of exciting. That's one thing that was never forced upon Mary or myself. We do have an older sister too that isn't in the business, but we were never forced to, you have to take over. And we kind of have that same approach with our kids because if anybody's owned a business in this room, they understand that owning a business is not for the faint at heart. So, they gotta want to understand to work at. They gotta understand that there's definitely other occupations they can make more money on, and it's a labor of love. So, and then Carly is a freshman. That's Mary Jamie's daughter. Is a freshman at UW-Madison, and I really don't know that her kids have an interest in the business, but we haven't forced it on, and they're young yet, and we're young yet too. At least I think we're young yet. So we've got a good 15 years before we need to have those discussions. But again, all the kids work in the business. Brady was home for winter break, and Carly's home right now. She was actually closing tonight, so everybody's involved, and that's great. So I gave you a really fine. Oh, hang on. So here's my contact information. Certainly, if you have questions, feel free to email me, give me a call. If you want a tour, come on over and we'll schedule a time to walk through, because it's fun to talk about it as you go through and show the evolution of what's happened. And then again, I can take you through our hallway of memories too. Little on the back, there's pictures from like an old delivery van. There's an order that we found from Harold Aikens that he wrote for a casket spray. There's pictures of Harold in one of the greenhouses, and my dad as a I would guess he's 3, picking up a potted plant back there. My dad had a lot of involvement with Society of American Florists, which is based out of Washington, D.C., and did a lot on Capitol Hill. So there's a picture with him and Barbara Bush. He had the opportunity to have tea with Barbara in the White House, which is kind of a cool thing. And then that's also how I got involved with Society of American Florists. Unfortunately, I didn't get to have tea with any presidents or first ladies, but during that time frame, no one, when I was doing this, when I was on the Hill, no one was allowed in the White House. So, and maybe that's because my dad, no. And then I'm trying to think what else I got back there. Some pictures of delivery vans. We had those Grummans that were little mail trucks in the 80s. That was kind of a fun thing. There's one of our delivery vans from, that's got to be the 70s. And my aunt and uncle, my dad's sister, Betty, and her husband live in Florida now, but we were talking about that when they were home recently. And he's had some pretty good stories of when he was in high school or college, and he would deliver for us. So thank you very much for your attention and coming out. We appreciate it.